16 years ago, a baby was born with animal traits on their body. After that, 1 in every 1,000 infants had the same condition. Some had fur, like a dog. Others had scales, like a snake. They became known as hybrids. Others exhibited the traits of animals that didn't even exist. Those rarities among rarities are called mythic hybrids. Welcome to the world of twin dragons. In it, we follow 14-year-old twin dragons, Kaya and Kai. They live in an out in the countryside sort of town where they are treated as demons and freaks by the locals, save their mother and father who love them very much. We open with their father making the announcement that he has finally saved up enough money to not only move them to a hybrid-friendly city, but to open his own Italian restaurant. This means a hybrid-friendly school. Turns out the school was built with hybrids very much in mind, but there are humans there as well. This isn't segregation, in other words, it's just that they have the tools and the talent needed to deal with students that have fur and scales and feathers, while still acting like regular kids. Kai and Kaya are a scrappy pair that make friends very easily, so they settle in just fine. From there, the comic settles nicely into a school-age slice-of-life story. The artwork is great, the colors are vibrant, and the style of characters is good. There's a lot of positive energy here, I gotta say. For a comic that starts on the premise of pseudo-racism and moving away to be with your own kind, which is kind of hypocritical, let's be honest, it evolves into a charming, bright, and beautiful story. Siblings Kai and Kaya meet lots of friends, encounter bullies, go on field trips, etc., etc. All the stuff you would expect from a comic like this, but that's not what makes it good. What makes Twin Dragons good is its positivity and fun. A lot of comics want to teach you something, or make political or social commentary, etc., etc. This comic not so much. Twin Dragons does things because they're fun and for no other reason. We have a whole story arc about basketball tryouts because basketball is fun. We have an arc about a museum field trip to see dinosaur bones, because what kid doesn't go through a dinosaur phase? We have a Dungeons and Dragons chapter, because any webcomic worth its salt will dress its characters up in medieval attire while they play a D&D campaign, and that is always fun. Etc., etc. Twin Dragons might not be deep or philosophical or anything, but it will make you smile and enjoy every step of the journey. As far as stakes go, story-wise, there really aren't any. I was very suspicious at first because of how the comic started with the twins' hometown mistreating them all the time. Like, this setting is ripe for serious commentary on race relations, treating others how you want to be treated, living amongst people that are like you versus a diverse setting, etc., etc. But the shoe never drops on any of those topics. Once they move to Hybrid City and start attending school there, they're basically home free. There's zero tension between humans and hybrids, which is frankly astonishing, given that they only began appearing 16 years ago. I think realistically speaking, it would be at least 3 generations before hybrids would be seen as quote-unquote normal, but I don't have the same level of positivity for people as this comic does. Sure, there's a fair share of school bullies, but nothing serious or dramatic. I think part of it might have to do with how young the characters are. Kai and Kaya are 14, so that basically cuts out any chances of story arcs about politics, romance, or anything super mature. They're still kids. They have kid problems, and that's all there is to it. Their parents are supportive, their school is great, and they live carefree lives surrounded by a growing group of friends that only grows bigger and bigger as the comic progresses. Now, I don't want to spoil anything else about the comic itself, but we should delve under the hood just a little bit. Does Twin Dragons have anything to say morally or philosophically or anything? Is there anything going on in the background? If I really had to poke at the details, I would say that the comic's main message is to not assume things about others. There are several characters throughout that act a certain way, but on closer inspection are not what they seem. A rich girl that buys everything for her friends isn't really as happy as she seems. A big mean basketball team captain doesn't have as much bite as he does bark. He'll even join you for some D&D if you ask nicely. Things like that. Character after character is revealed to have multiple layers to their personalities, including their public face and how they act in private. This is a sign of excellent writing, and quite frankly, the author should be commended for having created so many distinct personalities without playing favorites. Lesser comics will create a handful of characters and then either lean into the crowd favorite or their own favorite, while the others just sort of drop into the background. Not so here. Even with a large cast, everyone seems to share panel time with impressive balance between them. Kai and Kaya navigate a tapestry of interesting people throughout the comic, all of them interesting in their own ways, and telling their own stories with their own problems. The knot in the middle of the intricate web that ties them all together are the Twin Dragons, since they pull pretty much everyone they meet into their friend group. Sitting at a rather impressive 400 plus pages, Twin Dragons is... how do I put it? Twin Dragons is a chocolate Pop-Tart. It's the world map from Super Mario World. It's a brand new Spider-Man comic that just arrived in your mailbox after a hard day at school. It's fun. Concentrated, colorful, candy-sweet fun. I adored this comic, and I think you will too. Check it out.